the extreme thought that he gives to this stuff that makes it so scary. It's completely normal to him what he's doing. He's chopping up people and putting them part of him in sausages or whatever he's doing, and yet he does it in a way that as if everyone should be doing that.
I think sometimes it makes it a little easier to digest all these horrible things when you can sprinkle a little dark humor in there. It almost, like, I think for the writing process and the filming process for Andy and I, like, it's almost like we need that. We need that to take a break from the intensity of what's happening, and that's very real life. I think, like, even in the most darkest, dire situations, you'll often find these little glimmers of some humor in there.
Today we got another one from our friends at Lionsgate Films. Their brand new movie, Squealer, just dropped in theaters on November 3rd and is also on digital on demand. It's a tale that takes a true crime story and brings it into the world of fiction, expands on it with the characters, the world, and everything. And we are joined for a very quick interview with the writers, Andy Armstrong and Danielle Burgio. Danielle also did an incredible job acting in this film, but due to a lack of time on their media day, I kept the focus on the writing and their dynamic together, bringing the story to life. And yeah, let's get right into it. Yeah, awesome to meet you guys. How you guys doing today?
Very good. Yeah, very good.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, just watching the movie, one thing I thought that was really cool about it was your kind of take on a very famous true crime story. And around this, I just kind of want to know, like, a bit of the inspiration. You guys consume a lot of, like, different true crime, and what made you kind of want to decide to build on this and kind of create a universe around it?
Yeah, I'm a real true crime sort of addict. I watch every, my wife jokes about it. If you're watching something, he's watching those killing shows, as she calls them. But I'm always fascinated by the crazy things people do, and some people do it for many years and get away with it. It's for me, it's just, I'm fascinated by that part of our human psyche.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a lot of people are, like, it's basically the number one trending podcasts right now are all true crime too. And it's interesting because it's something I don't usually consume. I like to consume more of fiction, but I think it's what's cool about your movie too. It's kind of like giving me more of an insight on, oh yeah, this is like actually connected to something real, which makes maybe some of the horror movies I usually watch not as scary compared to something like this, when you really think about, like, yeah, a person did this, even with you taking your own spin and everything, just that the core roots of what this is pretty nuts.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
We wanted
It is
to
a
keep it in
hybrid.
that. Yeah, it is.
Mhm.
I agree, though, that a lot of the stuff that's so fantastical, you allow it to not scare you so much because it's ridiculous. It's not tangible. But this really happened. Probably is still happening somewhere. It's a very real thing, and I think for me that's the scary part about it.
Definitely. And another thing I appreciated about the film too is, like, how sometimes you see the trailers and obviously you're going to put all the action and intensity and crazy moments in it, but one thing I liked was kind of watching it beyond those moments. It kind of reminded me of almost like an episode of Law and Order, but a rated R extreme one, where you have also like
I
the
love it.
relationships with the police station, or
Yeah.
like even like behind the scenes with the criminals and stuff like that. I thought it just, you built some interesting stories around it and everything.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you. I mean, absolutely. We tried to keep all that sort of stuff based in normality as much as we can, because I think it's the lack of extreme thought that he gives to this stuff that makes it so scary. It's completely normal to him what he's doing. He's chopping up people and putting them part of him in sausages or whatever he's doing. And yet he does it in a way that as if everyone should be doing that.
Yeah.
It's not a, it's something fabulous about that, I thought.
Yeah, just totally like how numb he is like totally interesting and everything. And I'm sure like, yeah, as you consume all these other true crime stories to a lot of these people who, I don't know, have these reputations, they do have that about them where they'll even like try to like justify what they're
Yeah.
doing and completely think this is a normal thing a human should be doing too, which is so
Yeah,
spooky that's actually
it's
out
very
there.
odd. That is an ingredient that they have, isn't it? A lot of them have that. They feel that they can sort of justify the fact that they're chopping up people and eating them or whatever they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even like as the movie went on and it introduced some different characters, one thing I really appreciated was the contrast of his accomplice, like the guy wearing the red suit with the crossbow, and how he's more like kind of like OCD, doesn't want to get like blood on him, and even though like the movie's like got like all this subject matter that's like totally like fucked up in a way, this guy kind of like brought some like comic relief to me in these moments of them like kind of
Absolutely.
doing the killing and moving bodies and stuff like that.
Yeah, he was he really embraced that sort of absurdity, which I love about that character. Even when he brings the guy with a to him, he's sort of justifying the fact that he might have died of being overweight. Sort of so ridiculous, all of it. But it's yeah. I mean, we tried to keep wherever we could. We tried to inject some sort of a little bit of charm and sparkle to it that way that you wouldn't often sort of associate with a film with such a dark subject matter.
Mm-hmm,
I think
definitely.
sometimes it makes it a little easier to digest all these horrible things when you can sprinkle a little dark humor in there. It almost like, I think for the writing process and the filming process for Andy and I, like it's almost like we need that. We need that to take a break from the intensity of what's happening, and that's very real life. I think like even in the most darkest, dire situations, you'll often find these little glimmers of some humor in there. So
Mm-hmm,
and
definitely.
I think for us, like
Mhm.
it was creating the characters to be so eccentric, which I think they are, and very, we're very much about authenticity. But I think, in the world, I have met so many incredible eccentric characters, and it felt like this story and this particular landscape, this particular world really called to that. So we wanted to lean into some of that, and I think that's what creates some of the charm for the film.
Yeah, definitely. I even feel like sometimes in real life, I don't know if you guys are like this, if maybe you hear like an uncomfortable story or something, and then you just gotta like break that tension with like a joke, or even I've been to like
Absolutely.
some yeah.
I love that. I love those moments that you sort of giggle at something, but you feel embarrassed for yourself that you did. It's sort of it's so absurd, but you can't avoid it. And
Mhm.
I think there's a few of those moments in this movie. Hopefully,
Yeah, most definitely. Like, and it's cool. It's nice to kind of like break the pace. But yeah, it was just such a fun watch. And even just to let you know, like sometimes aspiring like creators will listen to these segments I record. And I just want to know, like, as like a final question, do you have any advice for maybe a writer who's like listening to this, who wants to bring a big idea to like the big screen or like film and television or anything like that?
I think William Goldman said it best: is that writers write, and people that wish they write but didn't write, they don't. You just, if you're going to write, you just have to write, and you don't want to spew out everything, and it finds its own level in a funny sort of way.
Mhm.
If you write, I'm a big believer in sort of writing fast, and these ideas come out, and then you can trim away the fat afterwards.
100%. Yeah. I think that the biggest thing is to just keep pushing forward. I know for me, I'm running into a writer's block constantly, or I'm doubting myself in one way or the other. and working with Andy has taught me, just, just keep going, it's going to find its way, and it's going to continue to morph and change. And I know for me at the beginning, I wanted to just have it be perfect, right? Like right from when it's coming from my head to the page. And it never is. It's just going to continue to evolve. So it's like, just keep going, just keep doing it. It's going to be like a sculptor that you keep, carving away the clay until it's perfect. And actually it'll never be perfect. You'll be carving that clay all the way until you're shooting, you're done shooting, and you're in the editing room, and it's going to continue to evolve. So just go for it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well said. And yeah, sometimes we have musicians on here, and one mentioned it's like an album's never done. You just gotta walk away at one point because you can keep chipping and chipping. And I also think it's cool, like just your dynamic together. It must be awesome, like because a lot of people write alone. Where I think it's cool that you can bounce things off and like. And it seems like from watching this film that you guys are a great team. Are you planning on making more projects together in the near future?
Yeah, we have several projects that we've done together, and it really is a very complementary process because we both bring different elements to it. I tend to have different ideas every 3 seconds, and they're all sort of splurge out like graffiti. But Danielle's very good at honing those and finding the ones that work, and cutting the rest away. It's a fun process, and it's now that we've done several together, I couldn't imagine writing alone again, really, because you've got nothing to bounce anyone off. I really admire people that can write alone, and some great writers that do, but I certainly prefer writing with somebody. It's a much better process.
Yeah,
Agreed.
That's so awesome. Yeah, well, I'm excited to see what's next with you guys. And as the movie gets released this week, I believe November 3rd, right? Am I correct on the date? Okay, cool. Yeah, awesome. We'll drop this interview then, and we'll continue to share clips of this throughout its life cycle and release. And maybe I can get you back on for your next project.
Absolutely.
I would love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Awesome. Have a great day, guys. Take care.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks once again to Andy and Danielle for this very quick interview. Hope they enjoyed the rest of their media day. And like we mentioned, Squealer is out right now in theaters if you're listening to this around November 3rd. In video on demand anytime else. Was an interesting spin on some reality turned into fiction, some cool characters. Danielle kicks some ass. Spoiler alert, and you should check it out. Before we go, I gotta thank all you special people on our Patreon page, throwing a couple bucks into the show, helping me keep the lights on. And first off, biggest thanks to our man Mike Carniello of the Testing with Mike YouTube channel. If you're into electronics, technology, how they work, and most importantly, how to fix them, check out the Testing with Mike YouTube channel. And also, great big thanks to Amanda McKnight of Top 10 Nerd. Beyond being the host of Top 10 Nerd and speaking to millions of subscribers, she's got her own YouTube channel as well. That is super amazing, and you should definitely check that out if you're into comic books, video games, movies, and all things that is nerdy. Just search for Amanda McKnight on YouTube. And another thanks to the wonderful Jenny Potter, the legendary Devin McBride, my favorite soul singer, Saber, and last but not least, Francis Coffer, aka my mom. If you want to support the show and also get all these episodes early, raw, and uncut right when I'm done the Zoom call, I just post them. You can go to patreon.com/thecreativeimbalance. And beyond having my thanks, you can go to bed at night and sleep soundly, knowing you're a badass motherfucker who supports raw, uncut, independent media. And nobody can take that away from you. You hear me? We got a lot of very interesting episodes for you coming around the corner. Like always, I appreciate you rocking with us, and we'll catch you next time. Cheers.